You got your family, you got your houses, you've done extremely well. Why keep going, and what is it that keeps you going?
The thing that I really love about the business the most is just the day-to-day activities of the business. And if you look at it, I've always been very, very competitive by nature. I love the competitive nature of this business. I always say that the business, to me, it's my job, but it's also my hobby. My life is very, very simple. I have a wife and a 16-year-old daughter that I love more than anything, want to spend as much time as possible with them. I go to the gym, I go to church, and I sell buildings. That's it. I'm very happy doing those four things. I think you get a dopamine rush out of the brokerage business. I mean, think about it. You find out somebody wants to sell, you get a dopamine rush. You go in and give the pitch and you do a great job on the pitch. You're getting retained, that's a dopamine rush. Then you get a great offer, that's a rush. And then you get the contract signed, that's a rush. Then you sell the deal, that's a rush. And that's only one deal. Well, I'm working on 74 deals at once now. So you're constantly getting this, and I think you get addicted to that winning and satisfying that competitive spirit that you have. And why the heck would I stop? I mean, I'm not doing manual labor. I talk to people for a living. I really enjoy it. I don't think I will ever retire.
Well, here we are, sir. Bob Knakal, our special guest today. Can we give him a quick round of applause? You actually, the $1 Billion Club, you were on in the middle of COVID. I'm sure at that point, New York City was empty. And there was an app called Clubhouse. No one uses it anymore.
I remember that.
And you were a guest on Clubhouse, and I was, at home alone. We were all at home alone. And at that time, I think you were like scouring the streets, and you created the map, which then birthed the map room. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming back. This is episode 4 of the $1 Billion Club. Today we have Bob Knakal. The $1 Billion Club is a weekly show we created to celebrate, learn from, and network with some of commercial real estate's biggest deal makers. And we call it the $1 Billion Club because in New York City, you need $1 billion in sales, an AUM, or a portfolio to be considered a real player. We welcome everyone from beginners and the seasoned to collabo and work and learn from us. My name is Chris Okada. I'm CEO of Okada & Company, a commercial real estate brokerage and investment company. We represent 116 buildings, over 7.1 million square feet, mostly in office and retail leasing. And today, my co-host is
Avery Revel, and here at Okada & Company, I focus primarily on office leasing. Done quite a few deals with Chris, and had the great fortune and honor to do a couple really fun deals with Bob as well in the hunt for the notorious and infamous Map Room.
Yeah, Map Room 1 and Map Room 2.
1.0,
What's Map
2.0.
Room 3 going to look like? That's going to be like, robots. Bob Knakal of BKREA, he is CEO, has over $23.3 billion of sales under his belt. He exited Massey Knakal in 2014 for a cool $100 million. We're going to definitely going to dig into that. And he is a commercial real estate investment sales broker with over 40 years here in the streets of New York City. Bob, welcome again. Thank you so much for being our guest today.
Well, Chris, great to be with you today. And Avery, great to see you. Yes, got to know Avery when he found Map Room 1 and Map Room 2 for us, which is great. And I got to tell you, I'm so excited to be here today. I fondly remember doing deals with your dad, Naomi, back in the 80s and 90s.
Amazing.
And to see what you've done with the firm and how you've grown it, both on the principal side and on the brokerage side, is really fantastic. And I'm sure your dad is extraordinarily proud of you.
Thank you. He passed away the year Bob sold Massey Knakal, so that was a big year for me. It's crazy. That was one of my best years. I jumped all into business because I didn't want to deal with my emotions. So for you, it was a huge year, but it was a big year for me. So let's just jump right in. Number one, what was the most amount of money gross? You don't have to talk net and all that stuff if you feel comfortable. you made or Massey Knakal made in a single year? What was like the biggest top
Well,
line?
I'll give you both. It was both the same year, and it was 2014. And if you think back, just to put it in perspective, we really took advantage of market conditions, which are the best we had ever seen. In 2014, there were 5,534 buildings sold in New York City, which is an all-time record by more than 10%. That still stands to this day. So
Wow.
if you look back on it, it absolutely was the perfect time to sell a brokerage business. Through no fault of our own, we got lucky. We didn't realize that was the case, and actually made the decision to sell in 14 and 2007, but that's a whole nother story. But in 2014, we had gross revenue at Massey Knakal of $92 million.
92 million top line.
Yeah,
Wow.
and that was
Okay.
also my personal best year. I grossed a little over $18 million in 2014.
Wow, 18. That's, guys, 18 million, $100 million exit on the $92 million year. So you got to keep the revenue and you got a big payout. You got that's insane. I didn't know that, by the way. 92 million top line. Do you talk about that a lot? I don't.
No,
no,
not
right?
a lot of you.
But there you guys have
you
it.
asked, and I generally
92
answer what I'm asked. So
$92 million top line. That is a strong year for an independent firm in New York City. Okay. So, and what was the biggest year? And I know we went over this quickly for yourself as far as aggregate sales and then for the whole firm.
right. Well,
Yeah.
again, it was 2014.
Sure.
Just because the whole market was doing so great. But in 2014, I sold 148 properties. That was about $2.4 million worth. That was about half of what Massey Knakal did, about $5 billion that year. So that was, by all accounts, was just an unbelievable year every way you could possibly look at it.
So $5 billion in sales in a single year, and you $2.4 billion.
Right.
Guys, that's the white rabbit right there. You got to chase that $2.5 billion. Your personal self with the team. How big was your team that supported you during that
Right.
time?
Well,
And I was
the
gonna-
Massey Knakal team broadly was about 250 people.
250.
My personal team had about 18 people on it. at that
18
time.
people for your personal team. That's still a pretty big team, for your personal self. And so that's incredible. And what was the biggest deal in a single transaction for sales price that I remember you used to do portfolios. There was a whole era of portfolios.
Yeah.
So the Watchtower deal, how much was that?
It was $685 million.
So that was the largest transaction to date?
Well, that had been. We recently closed a deal in Brooklyn, which is a series of 5 99-year ground leases that we just closed, and the net present value of those lease payments, which is for what we believe will be about 4 million buildable square feet, will aggregate to over $1 billion. So that's my first $1 billion deal, and very, very happy to get that one closed up.
All right, congratulations! There you have it, a $1 billion deal in a single deal. That's not very common. But here in New York City, there is a chance for that, definitely. Well, congrats on that $1 billion deal.
Thank you.
I think that's awesome. I'm at 217, so I got a 5X.
Well, I've always said it's more important that you do more deals
Yes,
than
of course.
the big ones.
Yes, of course. I totally agree. How do you celebrate? Do you celebrate?
Of course.
I mean, like, you have so many listings going. Like, I know it's onto the next deal and making sure, but a $1 billion net present value. What do you do to celebrate? Or like, is it just a dinner and that's it? Or
No, definitely, get together with the clients and celebrate. But as great as closing deals is. We're only as good as our next deal. So it's always on to the next one.
I thought it was you're as good as your last deal, but
No, you're only as good as your next deal.
I like that. You're always forward looking. All right. So bring us back to 2014. You said that in 2007, you and Paul started thinking about selling the company and everything. And then here it is. You went to market. I think a lot of people know that story, but what did it feel like the day you got the check, or whatever, like that, the era, that week that you knew that it was happening? Tell us
Yeah, well,
about.
I think it's important to go back. And,
Okay,
I said earlier that we decided in '07 to sell in 2014.
sure,
And that's because we almost sold in 2007. We got an unsolicited offer of $50 million from CBRE. Went down the path with them for several months for a variety of reasons. That deal didn't close. But what we learned was that whenever we did sell, we would be on 5-year service contracts with whoever bought us. So we looked ahead and we said, hey, in 2015, Paul turns 55. Paul's 2 years older than me. And we said, boy, the perception of the value of these 5-year contracts is going to be a lot better if we're in our 50s during those 5-year contracts than if we're in our 90s during those
sure, of
5-year
course, yeah.
contracts. So in 2014, if the market doesn't stink, we should really look at pulling the ripcord. And we get to the beginning of 2014, market's roaring along. We hired an investment bank, put the company on the market, and closed the transaction on New Year's Eve of 2014, which was a nice New Year's Eve party that year.
So was that 12/31/23 or 12/31/20?
12/31/14.
14. Okay. Okay, that's incredible. What an incredible. How what did you? I mean, how was New Year's Eve?
No, truthfully,
How the hell was New Year's Eve?
truthfully, it was a slightly anticlimactic, only because, again, like in a building sale, signing the contract is really the big thing.
Sure.
So what I remember most about that New Year's Eve was around 2:00 or so, you get a call. You've signed all the documents. Everything is kind of non-refundable.
Sure.
The deal is done, just a formality. The investment bankers call you and say, okay, just want to check. You sure you want to do this deal? And they told you we were anticipating that call because they told us that they would be calling with that question. And I remember the exact place I was sitting and, said, yep, still want to move forward with it. And a little surreal. And it was an interesting time. It makes you very introspective. Think about a lot of things. Think about all the trials and tribulations you went through. And, you think about how your life might change moving forward. But it was a great day, no doubt about it. And I'll tell you that, professionally, subsequent to the sale, I spent 10 years at the big global firms. I view that as kind of the dark ages
Really?
of my career. But now that I'm back, almost 2 years into being an entrepreneur again, it feels great. And definitely the quality of life professionally was much better at Massey Knakal than it was subsequent to that until now. But I don't regret having sold for a second. I'd do it 1,000 times out of 1,000. It was a life-changing thing. When Paul and I started the company, we started it with the intention of selling it someday. And, it was a great day. It was a great day.
Where were you? I mean, New Year's Eve, were you in a talks?
I was at my country house in Connecticut.
Okay.
I have a country house in Connecticut, which is in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere in East Haddam, Connecticut. And I was up there with my wife and my daughter, and it was relatively quiet New Year's Eve, but a very celebratory one, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, what happened when it hit the bank account? I mean, did you?
Well, I remember I remember going to the bank when I got back to the city and taking $20 out of the account just to get the receipt that showed what the balance in the account was.
Nice.
I remember showing it to a couple of my buddies and we got a kick out of it. But it was a great thing.
So you had the company for 25 years,
26 years and 46 days.
26 years and 46 days. Was there any like sadness? You know how we do a big deal and potentially there's a the post-deal blues or whatever, sort of like, now what? You knew that you were going to be at a firm for 5 years thereafter, but was there, because I would get emotional thinking about selling and saying goodbye. Was there any blues with that,
Not
or?
at all.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Not at
great.
all.
Good to know. Good
It
to know.
was
That's
it was
interesting.
time. Don't forget, I think my times that I remember most fondly about the Massey Knakal days were when we had about 70 or 80 employees, because we knew everybody's wife's name or husband's name. We knew their kids' names. We knew where they lived. We knew the pets' names. And when we got to be 250 people, there were times that, you'd be standing next to somebody you didn't even know their name.
Wow, that's
So
interesting.
it was, we had gotten big, and when you have 250 people, there are a lot of management
Sure.
responsibilities and headaches that come with that. So, no, it was time. It was time. It had
Okay.
run its course, and it was a great run. I'm very, very proud of what we did. We started just Paul and I and a secretary, grew to 250 people. CoStar started tracking the market in 2001. From 2001 to 2014, the number 2 company in town had sold about 1,300 properties. And remember, we were just a local shop working just in New York City,
Sure.
competing against regional, national, and global firms.
Yep.
And over that period of time, when number 2 sold 1,300, we sold over 4,000.
Wow.
So we lapped the field by more than 3x of 14 years in a row. I don't know that any company in any sector anywhere in the U.S. has had that level of dominance. So I'm very proud of that, proud of the fact we sold the company for a lot of money. But the thing I'm most proud of is that if you look back at what we did with our servant leadership management style today in the New York City investment sales market, there are 33 companies or
Sure.
divisions of companies that are owned by or run by people that we taught the business to. And that, by far and away, is my proudest legacy.
That's incredible, because a lot of brokers, independent brokers, train and work with people, and then some of them leave, and it's sort of a stink. But you see that as a badge, especially because you had a big exit. But so here you are, 2014. You have a 5-year contract. I'm going to assume there was some kind of earnout, maybe not. Was there an earnout?
No, we got
Oh,
very lucky.
okay.
And it's interesting. You sell a building, and the meaty part of the bell curve is like 10 or 15% below what the building trades for in terms of where the offers come in. We had offers ranging from the 100 million all the way down to like somebody offered us 18 million. I mean, it
Okay.
was crazy, and it was like equally spread out. I think we had 10 or 12 bids all spread out throughout that whole range. But when C&W first made their offer to us, they offered 100. They figured that was our magic number, but it was 25% cash and 75% on an earnout. We then got another $100 million bid, and basically went to Ed Forst at Cushman, who was running Cushman at the time. And he was a great guy, great friend to this day. And we told him, Ed, look, if we were deciding today, we wouldn't go with you guys. And the offer immediately changed to 75% cash with 25% on the back end, but not in the form of an earnout. It was, if you stayed at the company, you got the money in 3 years. And if you left the company, you got the money, but you had to wait 9 years. So it was an unbelievable deal.
Yeah, that was
Very, very fortunate that we had a little bit of competition at the top of the range.
yeah, that's incredible. Great timing, great exit structure, not only price, because a lot of people will come to you with 50 million.
Yeah,
and
we
then-
didn't know it at the time, but Cushman was, the prettying up the company for a sale of the entire company.
Yeah.
So they had a donut hole in capital markets in New York City. It was it filled that donut hole well. And then the company, shortly after our deal, sold the whole firm for $2.2 billion. So, it worked out for them, worked out for us. It was a great deal all around.
That's incredible. So you had a 9-figure exit. You had, 8 figures of income. You stayed at C&W for 5 years. Why keep going? I want to. Why start BKREA?
Okay.
Like you could be. I'm gonna make assumptions. They may or may not be true, but you got your family, you got your houses. You've done extremely well. Why keep going? And what is it that keeps you going,
Well,
you
Chris,
know?
I
Like,
will tell you that the thing that I really love about the business the most is just the day-to-day activities of the business. And, I think that if you look at it, I've always been very, very competitive by nature. I love the competitive nature of this business. And I think it gives you the ability, and I always say that the business to me, it's my job, but it's also my hobby.
sure.
My life is very, very simple. I have a wife and a 16-year-old daughter that I love more than anything, want to spend as much time as possible with them. I go to the gym, I go to church, and I sell buildings. That's it. I'm very happy doing those four things. And brokerage also gives you the ability, and I guess the best way to describe this is, they say kids on their cell phones are addicted to the dopamine rush they get from all the constant feedback from the phone. In the same way, I think you get a dopamine rush out of the brokerage business. I mean, think about it. You find out somebody wants to sell, you get a dopamine rush. You find out, you go in and give the pitch and you do a great job on the pitch. That's a dopamine rush. And then you find out that you're getting retained. That's a dopamine rush. Then you get a
Yeah.
great offer. That's a rush. And then you get the contract signed. That's a rush. Then you sell the deal. That's a rush. And that's only one deal.
Sure.
Well, I'm working on 74 deals at once now. So you're constantly getting this, and I think you get addicted to that winning and that satisfying that competitive spirit that you have. And why the heck would I stop? I mean, I'm not doing manual labor. I talk to people for a living. I really enjoy it. And I don't think I will ever retire.
That's incredible. So it's the dopamine, the people, the processes. So,
Plus, I also, I track everything. I've always been really into statistics, and comes from my childhood growing up playing baseball. I mean, I kept my pitching stats even in Little League.
that's amazing.
And so I played baseball through college. And I collected baseball cards as a kid. Always was a kid who looked at the back of the card more than the front of the card.
Sure.
And so I always loved stats. And, now last week I closed deal 2,363.
Wow.
And would love to get to 3,000. That's kind of a milestone in baseball. So
Sure.
like to get to 3,000 sales, and figure it's going to take me another 10, 12 years. But, here we are.
I was going to ask that. What are you going to do when you hit 3,000 in sales?
Well, with guys already talking about having a party for 2,500.
Okay.
So 2,500 will be, yeah.
And I hope you have a party when you hit 30 billion. I mean, a $30 billion, a party. I think that would be incredible. So you had mentioned that there's four things that your life is, and it's pretty simple. I don't think your life is that simple, but I think that it's great that you categorize it as simple. But walk me through a day in your life. You wake up, tell me about your day, the day of Bob Knakal.
Pretty routine at the beginning, and then, as you know, every day in brokerage is completely different.
Yeah.
But I wake up early, usually get up at 5.
Okay, 5 a.m. club.
Have a
All
cup
right.
of coffee and relax, do some emails, some social media stuff, watch the news, and then in the gym by about 5:20. Work out to about 6:20.
Oh, good
And
for
then,
you. Is that daily?
That's pretty much every day.
Good. See, that's the secret. I used to be a 5-day in the week gym guy. Now I'm like 5 days a month at best. So I need to work.
That's it. So, then come into work, and, every day is different. I always, the only thing that's really consistent about my work week is that I allocate 16 to 20 hours a week for prospecting calls.
Good.
That's always been the number one revenue generating activity that me or any broker can do. And so I always time block at least 3 weeks in advance to make sure I get at least 2-3 hour chunks of time to make those prospecting calls. But other than that, who knows what the week will bring. It's a variety of different things based upon what clients need. And nothing is the same. Once I come into the office, it's kind of different every day and every week.
So, ladies and gentlemen, he talks about how his life is simple and how he has a structured, daily thing, and there's only 4 things that he does. No, The guy is a workhorse, okay? He had, before we got on, we talked about how many networking events. So what's the tally for the year?
I think right now I'm at about 252 or 253. I have to look at it.
252.
But, and look, networking is just one part of market presence, a market
Sure.
presence campaign. And, my coach, Rod Santamassimo, tells me all the time that, you have to be out there. And I always say it's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Sure.
And networking is one of the things in the mosaic of activities that you do for market presence so that people know who you are and they know what you can do. They hopefully like you and want to work with you. But it's a number of things. You have to make the prospecting calls, do email blasts, text blasts, do good old-fashioned hard mail, which is very underrated, but do networking, public speaking, create content, be on social media, and a whole number of things that you need to do. But networking is great, and I really enjoy networking. It's fun meeting people, and now I wrote a book which came out in May. And so I've been traveling around the country doing book events and things like that, meeting a lot of really cool people. And, social media has also been a way for notoriety around the country to grow, which has been great. And so, number of great opportunities I'm sourcing for clients based upon all this exposure that I've been getting.
That's amazing. Are there any ambitions for BKREA to be in more than the tri-state area? Any national ambitions or anything like that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Look, as I said, 250 people at Massey Knakal. We have 20 people now, and I'm very comfortable with that number. Don't want to get too much bigger. We're really, I've completely changed my perspective on the brokerage world. Where for 40 years I was always go a mile wide and an inch deep in terms of my market penetration. Today I'm going an inch wide and a mile deep with people, and really focusing on a very narrow niche within the market, basically dealing in 3 verticals that are highly correlated and synergistic. They all deal with vacant properties, basically. What do you do with a vacant property? You either knock it down and build a new building, you renovate the heck out of it and convert the use, or you sell it to a user. And those are the only 3 verticals we're playing in. Everything else I'm referring out to other people. And the efficacy that the map room has given us by very clearly demonstrating we know more about the development market than any other firm in New York. Over the course of my career, I've given about 10,000 pitches. I've won 26% of them. In the Knakal map room, we've given 71 pitches. We've won 69 of them. That's a 97% win rate.
Wow, that's incredible.
Because of the very intense focus on one very narrow band of the market. And people ask me why I do that. Aren't you, eliminating yourself from doing other things? And I said, yeah, and you can make money a lot of different ways. But, think about it. Let's say you rip your rotator cuff in your shoulder.
Sure.
And you go see 2 surgeons. And one says, oh, Chris, no problem. I can take care of your rotator cuff in your shoulders. I do shoulders. I do elbows, wrists, knees, hips, ankles. I can do it all. I got you. And you go see the second one. He says, oh, yeah, I only do shoulder rotator cuff surgeries. I've done 9,642 of them. Who are you going to have surgery with?
Definitely the specialist, for sure. That's really interesting. And that doesn't apply to all markets.
I think you have to be in a very large, dense market to be able to focus so narrowly. But, I also say that a side benefit is that you're able to do something that most people think is impossible to do. And that is, I say brokers have 2 main assets. They have their market knowledge and time. And market knowledge, we're always trying to get more market knowledge, but generally people think, well, you can't make time. Time is finite. I disagree with that. And I'll use this as an example. Let's say last week I sold 3 properties. I sold an office building, an apartment building, and a retail property. And this week I'm pitching an office building. That owner of that office building wants to hear everything about the office building I sold last week. Couldn't care less about the apartment building and the retail property I sold.
Sure.
Imagine if I had sold 3 office buildings last week. Then this week's client wants to hear everything about everything I did last week. I just created time.
Yeah.
by using time more efficient and effectively. So
That's
I
interesting.
really believe specialization, especially if you're in a big, dense market where you can very narrowly focus, is the way to differentiate yourself from everyone else. It's interesting. I was in a pitch last week. We just won a $180 million development site.
Nice.
They were going to hire a land broker from one of the big global firms. And I said to the owners, I said, have you ever done renovation work on your house? And they said, yes. You ever renovate your kitchen or bathroom? They said, yes. I said, okay. So the contractor probably said, oh, I'll be there at 9 o'clock on Thursday. And it's 12 o'clock, contractor's not there, 3 o'clock, not there. And they call you at 4 o'clock and say, oh, sorry, I got tied up on another job. I'll be there tomorrow. And they show up on Friday and they come and they work like 2 hours a day. And some days they don't even show up. And so I said, you're working with a part-timer. You look at the folks who do development site sales in the city, most of them, just about all of them sell office buildings, apartment buildings, retail, hotels, all kinds of stuff. So if you go with one of them, you're hiring a part-timer. They're going to work 2 hours a day, maybe 2 hours a day on your job. If you hire me, I'll work 12 hours a day on your job until the job's completed. And the attorney representing the family said, okay, well, this was a Friday. He said, oh, thank you so much. Well, let me talk it over with the family. We'll get back to you early next week. 15 minutes later, they called up, said, okay, you're hired. We're sending you an agreement.
That's great. That's wonderful. The power of specializing. I think, yeah, absolutely. You had mentioned Rod Santamassimo, which you co-authored, and you guys did some collaborative thing, or where this is like 2021, maybe, and you appeared on Rod's social media. And that was the first time I heard his name. And how long have you been with Massimo?
Oh, Rod started coaching me in 2011.
2011. So because of that, I joined his group and I was part of it, I think for like 3 years, something like that. And we have a budget for coaches, and then we tried a different coach last year, and this year we tried a different. But do you still have coaching with Massimo?
Oh, yeah. I talk to Rod once a week, and always have, always will.
Okay.
I think it's very insightful, and people often ask me at ABK, what do you get out of coaching? And I say, well, a couple of things. One is it's a level of accountability. Accountability is always a great thing.
Yeah.
It instills even more discipline. I always say, one of the 3 characteristics of every top broker I know is they're able to use discipline well. As much as you have self-discipline, having someone else help you gets you to a higher level of discipline. But then also his coaching organization is so big. They coach thousands of brokers across North America. And I say there's not one person has a monopoly on knowing how to do everything the best. So I said, if there's some kid in Kansas City that comes up with a better way to do something, I want to know about it as soon as possible. I think through working with Rod, I'm more likely to find out that information sooner through working with his company than not.
So you've been with him for 14 years. That's incredible. Yeah, so I took his course, the intro course, and really went through the entire program. And he had a great coach, I think out of Virginia. Great guy, and really, really broke down the science of target marketing. And that's, I would like to attribute some of our post-pandemic focus and success to him and his course, for sure. So I got a big shout out to Rod and Massimo for anyone, and he's not paying for this, but if anyone really wants to get serious about their career, you definitely need a coach. It doesn't have to be Massimo, but he's one that I chose that, just the first 90, 120 days, it was very clear that what I was not doing, which was focusing and strategizing and coming up and perfecting the presentation and, all that stuff. So,
yeah, Chris, I'll tell you, I think no matter where you are, whether you're a beginner, middle of the road, or more senior in the business, or whether you're making a little bit or you're making a lot, you definitely can benefit from coaching. I think everybody can. And I tell you, if you're not getting coached, you're leaving hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars on the table that are there for the taking.
I think, Grant Cardone said it best. We tried one of his courses. It was a very different strategy of target marketing and social media marketing. But he basically said in a book, there's one paragraph that can make you $1 million if you're looking for it. So with the Massimo course, there was every week there was something that was just like, wow, I can really, tweak our marketing strategy around that. Yeah, this year, can I ask you, how much do you spend not only with Massimo? Do you have other coaches? Do you have any?
Oh, look, I reinvest in my business in a big way.
Yeah.
I've always believed in that. I always believed in doing coaching and enhancing your marketing materials, doing more outreach, doing things that are going to increase the ability to get more business. And routinely, I've spent anywhere from $400 to $600 a year.
A year
on a year on these
Lord.
on these different things. And I'm coming out with a new. We're calling it the Ultimate Guide to Selling a Development Site at the Highest Possible Price. It's a book it's 340 pages. We're printing 3,000 of them, so it's almost 1 million pages of capability we're going to put out into the marketplace. And it has over 200 development site examples of sites we've sold, before pictures, after pictures. It'll write up on the deal, a testimonial from the client. We're including in it information on our Knakal Land Index, which is a study we've completed after 3 years of looking at development site sales
The
in Manhattan.
Knakal Land Index?
Land Index, right.
Interesting. I've never heard about
We're just
this.
coming out with
Okay.
it. You'll see it in the next couple of weeks. But
Okay.
it's a study of every development site transaction in Manhattan, south of 96th Street, going all the way back to 1984. 2,444 transactions.
Wow.
All the information is disaggregated into 5 buckets: resi rental, condo, hotel, office, and then a miscellaneous bucket for like schools and hospitals and things like that. But we've taken the fluctuations in land value. We're applying AI models to it to come up with some predictive information about how changes in macroeconomic factors impact or foreshadow what's going to happen with land values. And so very, very analytical, but great stuff. And so this book that we're putting together, this is the 3rd iteration of our development site capabilities book, but it really is an unbelievable thing. So many people at the firm have worked so hard on it, but it's really going to be a fantastic thing. And it's at the printer now.
Okay.
And should be back within a couple of weeks.
That's fun. That's not only fun, it's smart. You came up with the baseball card concept, the books. I mean, you're omnipresent, if that's, a thing that you're aiming to be, which is literally everywhere. Email, text.
Well, I love
social.
it when I go to a client's office and I'm sitting in their waiting area, and on their coffee table they have one of my books. I can imagine how other brokers feel when they go in and they're sitting there waiting for the meeting.
So this was an incredible year. You had an NPV, $1 billion. So essentially, do you count that as your biggest transaction today? Would you?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. There you go. So here we are, we have approximately, I think it's 39 work days left, maybe 40 work days left in the year, depending on if people take off the end of the year. How did 2025 shape up for New York City sales, if you have that, just general, and then at BKREA?
Let's talk about market-wide first.
Yeah, sure.
The market totally underperformed from my perspective.
Sure.
The volume of sales in the market is running at about 1.8% of the total stock. And I'll use Manhattan as a microcosm.
Sure. Yep.
So south of 96th Street, there's 27,649 investment properties. On average, 2.6% of that stock is sold every year, meaning in the average year, 719 buildings sell. The lowest it ever was 1.2% in 2009. The highest it ever was 4.3% in 2014. and it's running at about 1.8, which is very, very low. And the reason for that, I think, is there are so many properties. The overwhelming majority of properties in New York City are apartment buildings.
Sure.
The apartment building market has just been frozen because so many of the buildings are what I call zombie buildings.
Yep.
The equity has been completely wiped out. The debt is significantly impaired. The owner doesn't want the building and has no incentive to invest in it. The bank doesn't want the building, has no interest in investing in it. There are so many liabilities that come with these buildings. Nobody wants them. They're like orphans. So it's very problematic, and I think that's the main reason why turnover has been so low.
Sure.
But the certain sectors are doing well. I mean, the retail sector is very strong. Industrial is strong. The land market is improving. Hotels are absolutely on fire. Then we have the multifamily market and the office market, both of which are like microcosms of the entire market where things are going in different directions. In multifamily, because you have such inertia within the rent stabilized stock, free market rents are going through the roof. They're, new buildings today getting as much as $150 a foot.
Sure.
So free market rents are actually going way up, making the city less affordable for everybody. So our politicians who say they want New York to be more affordable for everybody, a bunch of hypocrites. They're making it worse. So you have the free market sector is thriving. Their stabilized sector is crumbling. And then you have in the office sector, Class A new construction seems to be doing very well. Looks like the B and C market finally has reached some stability. Although for a while we kept thinking, and now it's hit bottom, and then the next week an even lower price deal comes out. But I think there's some stability starting to happen there. But it's been great, and as far as the company has gone, the company's still in its infancy.
Sure.
I said
2
that
years, 3
2025 was kind of a planting seeds year for us.
Wow.
But we've closed. The company's been open about 21 months now, and we've closed 19 transactions, about $1.4 billion worth of stuff. We currently have 74 exclusives, $3.4 billion. It's about 15.5 million buildable feet of space. And I think next year could be the best year I've ever had.
There you have it.
Some good seeds in 2025.
That's going a $1.4 billion 21-month run, and you're planting seeds. That's really, really, really optimistic, and I think our industry is definitely suffering. There's a lot of people that were in multifamily. They're having some of the worst years ever, especially since the 2019 rent stabilization laws that changed. Speaking of which, we just had the mayoral election. We have a mayor-elect, Mamdani, and Zohran Mamdani, and I think you were in the Biz Now. There was an article that came out, shout out to Sasha Jones at Biz Now, where before the election, it was a lot of fear, doom and gloom, and now all the CEOs from various firms are coming out and say, let's just see what happens. What is your take on this, on the new mayor coming in general? Like, what are your thoughts of 26 and beyond as far as a new regime?
Yeah, well, I think we have to wait and see what happens. I think that, I got close to, and this is a very jaded perspective I have, but it's based on having a conversation with a previous New York State Assembly person who told me, Bob, look, basically the way the politics works, you have to lie to get elected, and then once you get elected, you do what you think is right. So we have to see whether the mayor-elect will do what he's pledged to do. I see he's come out with some statements recently about, and the election was just last week, but come out already saying he wants to seize property from some people if they do X, Y, and Z. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Look, we've been through bad mayors before. New York is the greatest place in the world. We're going to survive this. And never bet against New York. I've seen so many times people said, oh, New York's over. It's done. Always bounces back. But we'll see what happens. Look, the reality is going up, going down, going sideways. There are deals to be made. You just have to sniff out those opportunities and figure out how to take advantage of the current situation.
I love that. Straight up optimism, but cautious optimism, just to see what happens with the local government. Yeah, I really do hope Albany and our city, and next year's a governor.
Well, that's the key, Chris. That's
Yeah.
the key, because 80% of what Donnie has talked about, he has absolutely no control or influence over. It's state legislature controlled stuff. So the governor's race is of paramount importance, and be very interesting to see how the candidates position themselves in that race. But that is, we'll be watching that like a hawk.
Amazing. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Next 2026 is coming up. $3.4 billion in the pipeline, 74 exclusives. And it may be his best year yet, better than $100 million check, of which he divvied up with his partners. But Bob, thank you so much for joining us on the $1 Billion Club. You're always so generous with your time with our firm and all of our social media stuff. And that's pretty much it. Avery, any last words, comments? What did you learn from Bob today? Pop quiz. What did you learn? Anything? Go.
Learned a lot. Bob, I have one last question before I let you
Sure.
go. You mentioned that, the bigger firm was a little bit of a dark age for your business. You've had your company where it was just the three at the beginning up to 250, and now you feel like, BKREA is its current iteration is it more of a sweet spot? Like, what is it that you felt like you lost with the 250 people that you can now pull off, back here at BKREA?
Well, there's a couple of things, Avery, and it's a great question. And first, I have to say, to be very, very clear, there are positives and negatives about everything. There's positives and negatives being at a very small shop, being at a mid-sized shop, being at a big global shop, pros and cons to working for yourself or working for someone else. There are pros and cons to everything, and I think the key is to try to take advantage of the positives that environment gives you, and try to keep your head down from the negative stuff. But I just, the management aspects of the business, and when we had 250 people, fortunately, Paul really loved managing the process, managing people. I didn't like that, and I was always a salesman. I always wanted to just do deals. And so I think if we keep the size of the company relatively small, that works for me from a management responsibility perspective. And also with AI today, you can have 20 people that can do the work of 100. So there's no need to have that many folks. And, I think the intensive and one-to-one training that I can give people in a smaller environment, I think is better for them and better for me. And, I want to grow that 33 companies or divisions of companies run by people that I taught the business to. And I think I have some people in the shop now that I know are going to go on to run their own company or their divisions of companies in the future. And that makes me feel great. That's extraordinarily rewarding. So that's the goal, is to produce some new folks, profoundly change their lives for the better and give them an opportunity to go on and do great things.
There you have it. I have no other things to say. Please follow Bob. How do we get in touch with you?
Sure. Well, you can follow me on social media. I'm on all the platforms, or you could email me at bk@bkrea.com, or call me on my cell phone, 917-509-9501. I'd love to hear from you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Take care.